I am always very curious because I do know that you have to deal with both physical and mental with a horse. Obviously, there might be some injuries, there might be something off. Feet is a great one.
Yeah.
Constantly talking about feet on my channel. You gotta have good feet. You don't have bad feet, the horse is gonna be uncomfortable, they're gonna trip, they're not gonna be able to walk properly, they're not gonna carry themselves, and so on and so forth. Also, picking up the feet, let alone that it's a healthy thing to do to take care of them, but mentally, when you take those feet away, they must know that it's safe.
Yes.
So when it comes to training and working with horses, it's constantly going through my brain. Is this a physical thing? Is this a mental thing? Or is it a bit of both? Or is it just me? Or all of the above? And
when I get past that initial being able to go in, put my hand on these wild horses, go in, and whether I had the BLM put the halter on, but some of the horses that come to me through sanctuaries or other things that are storefronts for the BLM, some of them, they don't have halters on. So I've got to get that horse where I can get a halter on it. But once I get past that initial stage, then the real work comes, because now he's let me into his zone, into his energy zone, his safety zone. Now I have to start getting him to the point where I can move around his body in that zone. Because that's when they start showing that they're going to trust you. And his feet, I have a checklist in my head by which I get on horses, or I advance with these horses. And when I'm taming a Mustang, one is I've got to be able to walk in and calmly put a halter on that horse. That I don't have to drop my rope on the other side of him every time, pick up my long rope and twist it and get him up and finagle a halter on.
I think domestics are the same, because a lot of them will raise their head up. So they're used to getting their head up high.
Yeah, there's people riding horses that I go, can you never pick up his feet? No, I have the stable person pick him up. That horse doesn't trust you.
Nope.
So the feet are directly, and especially in a Mustang, and like I said, Mustangs are instinct on steroids, so the feet on a Mustang are directly connected to their brain when it comes to trust. If anything happens to a Mustang's foot in the wild, he cannot travel to water, to food, escape a predator. So for him to allow what we are predators, we have, you can't see, we have eyes on the front of our head.
Two of them. Most people.
And that makes us a predator.
Unless you're tired.
So if I transfer around that horse, I'm very careful about my body language, typically giving one eye to that horse. But when I ask that horse to give me his most valuable asset, the ability to flee, and they start to give that to me, then I know I've made that extra step of progress, connecting the trust from his foot to his brain. When I can pick up all 4 feet and then trim them without dragging them out, then I have made a huge step in progress. And Hunter, this big Mustang right here, we made the most progress when I got him. I could pick up his feet, but boy, the sound of the nipper was a deal. But I still got it done, and we found a nice little scratchy place on his neck where as long as you scratched his neck, he'd let you do his feet. And I'll use every tool I can get.
Absolutely.
You know? So there are parts of this checklist that I check things off. Feet is like a big number one, especially with Mustangs.
Face, eyes, ears.
Oh, everything.
Mouth.
Everything.
Nose.
You've got to be able to, if you're going to put a bulsel, a side pull, anything on, you've got to be able to get things around, or a halter.
Just a halter.
A halter. So all of these things, if a horse is avoiding letting you get to a certain part of their body, then we're in trouble. So I say, I've got to let this horse understand that I am not going to hurt him, and I will take it 1 inch, one day at a time. If I can get an inch further this day, I'll get an inch further the next day. If I want to be a McDonald's generation trainer and I want it all at one time, I'm going to set that horse up, myself up for failure. So that's one of the big things I try to tell people. You cannot put a time frame on horses. Though in reality, and this is something that we've talked about a lot as trainers, we have budgets to work within. We have time frames that we try to work within sometimes, but you know, you have to communicate to the clients that there is no set time frame, no set, you know, they better, you know, if you're worried about budget, go to the pet store and get a guinea pig, because they don't eat near as much and they don't cost near as much to do everything on. Horses are not a cheap endeavor.
No.
They're a big giant lump in the ground that you feed money in one end and poop comes out the other
And
end.
you gotta clean that stuff
And
up.
then you gotta pay somebody to clean that up if you don't want to do it yourself. All right, let's get another question. Because I will
Actually-
go on and on all day about Mustangs.
Yeah, there's a few questions, luckily, that have kind of come in at the same time.